Let's go. It reminds me of when I was traveling around LA, walking around Vegas, but we're back. Merry Christmas to everyone that's watching. Today is Boxing Day, so I'm not sure when you're watching this, but I would say I'm gonna get it out today. I actually thought I was gonna go to the gym today, so I've been going the last 2 days, taking this time in, and I thought, all right, I'll give you guys a bit of context around what's happening. So, a couple of things we're going to cover off in the vlog. Number one, what am I thinking post, work finishing up, Christmas with family? What am I prepping for? I'm actually headed somewhere. I'm actually headed towards the office. So I'm going to see if the AC is on. So I'm going to check that out and then share with you my thoughts around what I'm really excited about coming into the new year and this weird period between Christmas and New Year's. I don't know, I just don't know what day it is. So this year I'm trying to do it different. I'm trying to keep on top of it, have some plans, have some goals, taking a different way to the office today. But yeah, I thought I could vlog it while I walk, get my steps in, and share with you some insights. Now, let's start off with how the year finished off. We had our Christmas party. Now there's two versions of the Christmas party. Number one was the one that we had in the office. So it was staff only. Both of them were actually staff only. And we had everyone come and bring in a dish from their culture or their background. And it was really wholesome. I've got the entire vlog, which actually is my favorite vlog of Behind the Agency. It's a Christmas special. It's the most in line with the Office sitcom, or the most in line with the Office show. So if you guys enjoy The Office, you're definitely going to enjoy that vlog. So I'm going to have probably a card pop up, but you can always search up Behind the Agency. It's on my main channel, so Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. So yeah, just go check that out. It's actually my favorite episode. I think I've actually watched it twice. And now I'm not sure if I love it because I know all the characters. So I'm interested to know what your thoughts are, because obviously we've shown a few episodes now, but this incline walk is killing my life. I've shown a few episodes now, or Behind the Agency, we've done a few episodes. So you're probably getting an idea of what each character's like. Maybe I should just slow down. I'm caught in between trying to, shoot some content for you guys, capture and document everything while trying to be fit. Habit stacking. I'm pretty sure that's how you do it. Atomic Habits, James Clear. If you haven't read that, you should probably read that. Good shit. Anyways, so yeah, my favorite episode. Definitely go check it out. It's about half an hour. Good way to, chill. Probably a good chance for you to watch all the other episodes. After I watched that episode, the one that we had just shot, I went back and looked at my first episode of Behind the Agency, which was from a few months ago. So now I think we're at 15 episodes. We were releasing them fortnightly up until these last 2 weeks. So we did vlog week on week. The intention is that we want to get it to becoming a weekly vlog, almost a show that comes out every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. So if that's something that you guys would want to see, again, the comment section is where I get your feedback. So knowing that I don't get as many comments and as many views on this channel, it's probably a place where you're going to get my most attention. So if you guys have feedback, let me know in the comments down below on this channel. It's not to say that I don't read the other channel, but when you're talking about personal finance, it's already such a taboo topic. And I feel like right now it's really the difference between the have and have nots. I just released, actually I haven't released that video. Plan is on Sunday, there's going to be a new YouTube video coming out on the Personal Finance channel. And it's regarding what David Koch's stance is on, a recession. So for anyone that doesn't know, David Koch, well known as Kochie, was on Channel 7. So I think he did the Sunrise Show from memory. And so he's in that personal finance space, and he comes out and he talks about how there's like a dire recession warning and what that's going to mean for people that have and have not. So anyways, I digress. That will come out in a couple of days. So anyways, what was I saying? So we're talking about how, actually I lost my train of thought. But anyways, we're going to enjoy the sun. It's great weather today. Tomorrow in Sydney is 40 degrees. I'm not looking forward to that. And the reason why, well, I'm being a little sneaky here, but I'm going into the office, which happens to be a new office. All shall be revealed in a couple of weeks, but going into the office to see if the AC is on. So it's like a centralized system. I'm not sure if you can hear me over these cicadas. They go crazy. I'm really scared of like insects and animals in general, let's be real. So I feel like when I hear this sort of noise, it gives me anxiety, and I'm not an anxious person, so that says a lot. I feel like they're all gonna attack me at the same time. Anyway, so I'm gonna go check out if the AC is on, because in our apartment, we pay like $1,300 a week now. The AC absolutely sucks. Now it doesn't suck everywhere. It just sucks in the living room and my office. Sanjo's office is pretty good. And I think the reason for that is because, so it's a 3-bedroom penthouse, right? And Sanjo's office is actually meant to be the master bedroom. And so I suspect that's why they've done the AC really well in that place, in that room. The living room sucks, but it's also west facing. So if you guys are ever gonna go out and buy an apartment or even rent an apartment, do not ever get a west facing apartment. Houses are okay because, I mean, depends how big the house is, but usually you'll have, 2 sides to it. And, probably not gonna have windows across all of it. Plus, it's brick, most likely. Ventilation's a bit different. Whereas for us, despite it being a penthouse, we're pretty much west facing, but it's on the corner. So we get sun, which is amazing in winter, but like 6 months of the year absolutely sucks. And I don't like the heat. So I find myself most productive when it's a little colder. Anyway, so point is, AC's crap. And so I'm coming into the office to see if the AC is on here. Because if it's on here, whew, we're gonna get some work done. Speaking of work and, this whole idea of taking a break during Christmas and these are the holidays, I think it's just a different type of work. So it's obviously changed over the last few years. I've been running Search Property now for almost 5 years. So in February will be 5 years. Granted, the first year was a little slower. The last couple of years have just compounded and grown. And it's so interesting to just sit back and reflect on how things have changed. And what I mean by that is during these periods where, I'm gonna say for the last 3 years, I pretty much got to Christmas and I was dead. I was burnt out. I'm not gonna go and pick up my laptop. I'm not gonna do any work. I'm just gonna chill. And what I found was, yeah, time went by, but I also felt like I fell into a rut. Felt like I was being unproductive, and it took me a couple of weeks to gain that momentum back. See how now we're not incline, we're going decline? I'm actually pretty fit. So back then, if you're judging me, it was because it was incline. Anyways, so this is also the best time to be out and about. What's the time? It's 8:50, but it's the morning of Boxing Day. So everyone's pretty much going to either the beach or they're going to stores to go and buy stuff. Or they're sleeping because they had a big Christmas. Anyways, we'll get on to Christmas in a second, but I find that with this year, it's a little different. I feel like it's the most dialed in I've ever been, most amount of clarity, and I'm getting the most done, but in a different way. So it's not so much about, okay, I'm gonna go through all of my emails and get all of that stuff done. It's more around the health and the mindset and the body. So if I think about, how many days we've been in this holiday period, it's been pretty much, I'm gonna say 6 days. So our last day of work was 20th, and I'll touch on the second Christmas party because that was fun, I was in a spot where 6 days, and I've probably worked out 4 times, and I've tried to do on average about 10,000 steps a day. So, but from a physical standpoint, things are good. From a family relationship standpoint, that's also been really good, because we do a tradition every year where we all catch up, the family get together. There's probably about 20 to 25 of us, and we always have it at my uncle and auntie's place, which is such an awesome tradition that we have now, especially when you see your little cousins that are not so little anymore. And I think we've been doing it for about 6 years now. So that's been really cool. And so if I'm thinking about, these last 6 days and how they've been, taking a couple of days personal, just relaxing, then there's the physical part, which is very important for me, especially moving into the next 12 months. And then the mental side of things, I've been reading every day. And what I found about myself is, I like reading, before bed, but there's something else about that mid-morning read. And obviously it's not possible when you're working, especially if you're in the office, just to be in that zone and dialed in. But I don't know, I'm sure there's a way where I could incorporate the mid-morning read. Because if I can do that, or when I can do that, because I'll figure out a way, then it's game on. Because you pretty much find yourself, well, at least for me, I find myself, the best way I read and absorb information is I have little sticky notes. So I put the sticky notes everywhere I highlight. So if I have a page that I highlight, I'll put a sticky note there. And the reason I do that, and I'll do a breakdown of how I read. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but I think it's very effective. And I've tried many things. Audiobooks, tried the Kindle, and it didn't seem to do as much as I would have liked. So let me see if this is open. Oh shit, I don't have the key card. I've got the key. Let's see if it actually opens. I don't think it will, because it is Boxing Day. Unless someone's around, but I don't think I could get up to my level. Ah dear, that is a shame. I would have given you guys a walkthrough of the new office. Let's see if it opens. I don't think it will. Nope. All right, well that was a fail. Anyways, that's okay. We'll continue on our walk. There's a little direction here, and then we'll go across into this jungle area, which is pretty cool. Escape from all the noise and all the traffic. Traffic's back that way. That's Waterloo Road, and behind there is Epping Road. So if you're from Sydney, you'll know exactly where we are. We're in Macquarie Park, and that's where our office is, in that building. Anyways, so I've been reading a lot, and this mid-morning read has meant that I've been able to do an extra 30 to 40 pages a day. I don't really care how many pages I do, as long as I get what I want from that session. And sometimes I could go and reread a chapter because I found there was a lot of value there, really want to unlock it. And then there's other parts where you just skim through. That's what I mean is I probably figured out after trying to read, for so long, that I've sort of figured out my groove, when I'm most productive, when I'm most effective to take in information. And so anyways, I'm able to do sort of on average about 50 pages a day, which means on an average book of about 250, I can pretty much get through a book in a week. Now that's possible during this period of time, but I'm gonna have to try and figure out how do I do that during the work week. Because I have found that it just gives me a level of clarity, and I've got about 5 or 6 books at the moment, which I bought. Idea was just to, go through them. So I finished The Diary of a CEO, which I finished, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And then I probably got another 2 sessions. It's about 90 pages left of this next book, which is by Dan Sullivan, called 10x is easier than 2x. So I'll share with you guys my thoughts around it, in a bit more depth. I think it'll be, when I do these walks, can share a little bit more around what I've learned, reinstates what I'm thinking as well. And then you guys get some value out of it and see if you guys like what I have to say. It might be something that you guys want to read. Anyways, so the idea was was that I was going to spend this time, or these holidays, to get mental clarity, to really get kick-started with what next year looks like, rather than just sort of lazing around. And I've still felt really relaxed. So contrary to what people think, oh, you've got to take a break, you just can't work. I think it's the mundane tasks that you need to take a break from. So the meetings and the emails and the this and that. But the other stuff, I think that keeps you sharp. So at least for me, I'm trying it differently this year. It's the first time I'm trying it, to be honest, because the last couple of years, as I mentioned, just been completely drained. Anyway, so yesterday we had our family Christmas party. Amazing. I'm very close to my family, but in saying that, probably don't catch up as often as we should. And it's largely because we're so far in terms of distance. So my grandparents, my uncle and auntie, they live basically 2 streets away from each other, but they live in southwest Sydney and I'm in sort of northwest Sydney. And so that's meant that like it takes, if you've got no traffic, a good 55 minutes to get there. My dad also lives out that way as well. So it becomes really difficult when you're having to justify 2 hours in traffic. And I don't know about you guys, but I hate driving, I hate being in the car. It's probably got something to do with the fact that I've got a crap TiVo. So the AC works in there, but it's not great. Anyway, so I saw family members and they were like, are you still driving this car? Aren't you like a bestseller author? I'm like, mate, books don't pay me that much. But the plan is to get a new car in 2025. And I cannot wait. For anyone that's still listening, get a bit more insight, is I'm looking at a Tesla Model Y, but they've got a new update coming. So I feel like I've become somewhat of a Tesla fanboy in terms of the car itself. I know it's controversial, some people don't really like the car, some people are against EVs and things like that. I just like the tech, makes my life easier, and that's what I like. Anyways, so the Model Y is the bigger car, so it's the SUV car. And the idea is that I want to purchase that, but I want to purchase the next version. So they've got a new version or an update, and it's called the Juniper update. I keep changing hands because it's hurting my shoulders. I did shoulders yesterday. Anyways, so idea is I want to get that, and that's going to basically, I'm hoping, from everyone I know, 2 best mates, my brother, have all bought Teslas in the last sort of 9 months, and they've all loved it. And they're like, man, the reason why you don't like driving is because of that. So here's my thinking. I get the car, I'm going to enjoy driving, means I get to see my family more often. That's the plan. We'll see how it plays out. Anyways, I don't know when it's coming. They're saying it's in the next couple of months when you can pre-order it in Australia. Well, we'll just wait. Anyways, so caught up with family. Always interesting because it's changed over time. Hey, like, I guess with my personality, and you probably gained a bit of insight as to what that looks like. I'm a pretty chill dude. Or as like my cousins like to say, I'm just a chill guy. And it's weird now seeing, obviously, you know, the success of the business and, you know, how things have been going on that front. I do a lot of like serious content. And so I've found like this awkward period where I can go up to, you know, my family and friends setting. I'm still the same dude, but I don't know, because they consume more content of me than I do of them, I can fall naturally back into how I am as a person because I'm not changing who I am. But I don't really have discussions around finance and, you know, the serious stuff whenever I've been with family. So, you know, when my grandfather's congratulating me on the book, it's sort of awkward. I don't really know how to respond, and then they're obviously watching my videos and the vlogs. The vlogs are funny because they're a bit more lighthearted, show a bit more of our personality, and I'll be like, oh, I really like this guy from the vlog, and oh, this guy's really funny, or who's this girl, she's so funny, that sort of thing. That's cool. But then, you know, there's that fine line between I just want to catch up with family and just make it normal the exact same way it was before versus, oh, Ravi's the finance dude, let's go ask him finance questions, which is good because they don't. But at the same time, if they wanted help, I would love to help, but just probably not in that setting. So that's what I'm trying to say. Now I'm trying to figure out, I'll go this way. All right. That's a cracker spider web. If I got caught up in that, game over. Anyways, so what's the plan? The plan is, apart from walking, I think the vlog's been going on for about 20 minutes. So I reckon I've got another 15 to 20 minutes with you guys. Whether I vlog the whole thing or I've got my AirPods in, well, not in, but I've got my AirPods with me. So there is a podcast that I want to listen to. And it's just looking at the journey of Chris Williamson, actually. So Chris Williamson is the guy behind Modern Wisdom, the podcast. And I met him when I was in LA. And I've just been consuming his content. And he's someone that was, he really did grind for a long time. And the podcast I was listening to this morning was now Modern Wisdom, his YouTube channel. And he's big on Spotify as well, but to give you an idea of the scale at which we're talking, is this guy has 3.9 million, almost 4 million subscribers. One of the most listened to business podcasts out there. And when I was watching this, it's a podcast from 2 years ago, quality significantly different. And at the time, he was saying he's almost about to hit 400,000. So in 2 years, he's gone and basically 10x'd his entire subscriber base. And I'd say a large portion of the followers have really come in the last 12 months. It's been really a hockey stick for him. But when you start looking at his background, it's so interesting, his mindset, where I've listened to a podcast like more recently, yesterday actually, and he was talking about how the vision that he's got for 2025 or moving forward is he wants to shoot more podcasts in person. He wants to have different, production value, something other podcasters aren't doing at the moment and probably can't do in terms of from a resource standpoint, time, money, things like that. And so he's planning to go deep into the in-person, high production sort of stuff. Whereas back then, 2 years ago, he was like, man, consistency is everything. And what you got to focus on is being able to get the guests, firstly. And secondly, if you're getting those guests, how frequently are you posting and shooting content? Obviously, it's a lot harder when you do it in person. And we're doing that right now with the More Than Money podcast. It's so hard because, you don't want to just have any guests come on. You want someone that's going to bring your, community value. You want to have someone who you align with as well. And so it's been difficult, especially when you're based in just Sydney. So we're changing that up a little bit because next month we're headed to Melbourne. And we're going to shoot some podcasts there. We're going to shoot some content as well. So that's really cool. But he was talking about how weekly he was posting, and sometimes he would do even individual podcasts. And that was the only way he could be posting weekly. And those are two things that I sort of tried to stay away from, which was posting, well, I wanted to post weekly. I'd ideally like to be in a position where I post twice a week. But it's hard because if you're doing only in-person stuff in Sydney, one, you've got to have time, which is, getting harder as the business is, ramping up. Although at the same time, we're hiring a lot of people. So it's sort of made that part easier. So you got the resource from that front. I've never been down this way because that's the main road there. And I don't really want to go on there because it would be a disaster. So anyways, so that's where my thoughts were. And then after listening to what he was saying on this podcast from 2 years ago, changed my perspective. So I'm sort of in this mindset that maybe I've got to do, oh shit. See what I mean? I'm really scared of like insects. That was just a butterfly. So the idea is that if I can go and create content weekly, and it happens to be by myself, do fill-in episodes, also go remote. So if we're doing remote, then having the right quality audio, because that's one thing I don't really want to mess around with. Okay, it's gonna get loud there. Let's come back this way. Is I don't really want to mess around with that. I think good quality audio and production is a must, especially now moving into 2025. There's no excuse. So if that means that I'm going to post less, I'd rather do that. But it's counterintuitive to what he was saying has been the reason why he's grown so quickly. So a bit of a conundrum. I'll figure it out in the next couple of days. I'm probably going to try and figure it out today. Today is Boxing Day, so it means that the Boxing Day test is on. So I have to get some cricket watching done. And I'm not sure, George, if you're watching this, he loves cricket as well. He obviously goes for Australia. And I don't mind who wins, but I like a good contest. So I don't really have a team, but anyway, I digress. I'm just trying to figure out, do I go left from there or do I go right? It is heating up though, so I don't know if you can sense a bit of sweat. Hey, these are our caps that we got. I love them. Bruh, so many spider webs. Yeah, I love these hats. I think they're called like the 5-panel hat. Some people don't like them, but I love that style. Anyways, so we recently got them in, and George was the one who found them. So come full circle on that front. So yeah, the idea is, without having to sort of repeat myself, is I really want to use the next couple of days. Well, today's going to be more about wedding planning. We're about 6 weeks out from the wedding. Very exciting times. But I know that we're pushing ourselves to get certain things done now than to have them done, closer to the wedding. So there's like, what the deadline actually looks like is probably 3 or 4 weeks from now. But we want to get it done now, because in 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to have other things to worry about. And I don't want to get into a position where suddenly we're, freaking out. We've got wedding planners, which helps, but parents aren't really involved. We don't have really any other family members. Deeps is helping me out. And so it's largely me and Sanjo, which I know that is not possible always for people, but is something else. Like, you're going to know your clientele. You're going to know your guests best. And we've got probably about 105 to 110 people. And the wedding's being done in Thailand over a few days. So, planning that out, getting it right. We're not going to get it perfect, let's be real. We know that things are going to screw up, and that's okay. That's part of the magic. And in a past life, when I used to DJ, I was DJing weddings as well. And I got to the point where I had a video and photography production arm to the business as well. And you only get to live through moments once. And that almost made it scary as well, but it was beautiful. But scary in the sense that if you didn't capture that moment, you're never going to get it back. And so trying to tell that to, guests as well as the bride and groom afterwards was a difficult conversation, although it didn't happen all that often. With experience, you figured out where you needed to be and what you needed to shoot, but you're not going to capture everything. There's going to be moments there. And so you got to take mental notes, mental pictures. And last, a couple of times we've hung out with, whether it was family yesterday or friends last week, we get some advice from people who've been married recently in terms of their ceremony, or they got married a while ago and they were just talking us through it. And yesterday, my uncle, different uncle to the uncle I make fun of, anyways, he was saying that, look, it's about you guys and you guys just got to take the moment in and just expect that shit's not going to go the perfect way. And that's been common across everyone. The other piece of advice that we've gotten as well was, it's about you guys, right? Bride and groom. You're going to realize who your closest friends and family are, because they're going to make your life easier during those days, they're going to add to the experience, they're going to add to the energy in the room versus taking it out. And I suppose that's, you know, how life is as well, where if you've got friends and family that are not pouring water into your cup and you're having to constantly put water into their cup, it's probably not a relationship you want to be having. And some people are more ruthless than others. They can cut it off, often are more happier people. But then at some other times, I know there's people in, you know, my life, whether it's directly or indirectly, but they find it very difficult to have that conversation, the difficult conversation, you know, it's not mutual. So anyways, that's where my headspace is at the moment. I'm walking for about half an hour. We're going to finish up in about 5 minutes because I thought it would connect back there, but it actually doesn't. And rather than walking through all the traffic and annoying you guys and adding to my tan, I'm going to leave it with you in terms of this vlog. But the other thing I was going to mention before I went was just a little summary, a little recap, if we like, is deep planning mode for next 12 months, which I think is absolutely going to be wild. I've never been more clear in terms of my vision, in terms of what we're going to do, and not just my vision, the closest people to me as well. I feel like they've found the highest level of clarity this year than they have any other year. So plan is today we've got wedding planning, tonight Friendsmas, so just a couple of friends catching up, Christmas / barbecue / board games night, and then it's going to be 48 hours to 72 hours of deep work. And it's different work, as I mentioned. Get the goals, get the vision right. Can't wait. So I hope you guys have a safe holiday, and I'll catch you guys in the next vlog, which hopefully should be in the next couple of days. See you guys.